Welcome to the Healthy Minds, Healthy Bodies podcast. I'm Shawn Cyr. I'm the host, and we have a couple guests tonight that we're going to be talking with. We've got my dad, Mike Cyr, and we've got Brett on joining us as well. Brett, good to see you again. My goodness, I haven't
Yeah.
seen you, like I said, in a long time, which is neat. So today's conversation is not really going to be confrontational, but I might ask a couple of questions to go deep. It's more about what happens when someone who is disciplined, who is successful, high functioning, starts to realize that something underneath all of that is quietly failing. Brett has spent more than 2 decades working in one of the highest stress environments you can possibly imagine. He was overseeing health, safety, security, and compliance at a major nuclear facility. He's very structured, he's disciplined, he's responsible. And then one day, after years of warning signs being labeled as just stress, it wasn't just stress. And today we're going to talk about what changed, not just physically, but mentally, what shifted in identity, and what shifted in priorities. So, what it really means to protect yourself, and so you can actually protect the people who depend on you. So, Brett, let's, if we can, start at the beginning. Um, let's go like way back. Let's go back to your childhood and teen years. What's life like back then?
Well, so I was born, in this area, right? I was born and grew up in the Ottawa Valley, 1969, right? So I've come from that era in a sense, right? So always a country kid, long summers, bicycles, very low stress. Like I had a dirt bike when I was 7 years old, right? And my father showed me, this is how you put gas in it, you know, have fun, come back at dinner time. Like seriously, it was nice, right? I always did well in school. Never really pushed too hard though with it, right? I was one of those people who would just sort of, read over my notes a few times, go write the exam and do pretty well. My parents, I guess you could say my first major awakening with the fragility of life and with mortality was in 1985.
Lost audio.
I think I might have lost your sound, Brett. Catch the last like 30 seconds. Something happened to your mic, and so I've got my comms, my dad's comms. Um, Strange, and it doesn't show you muted,
Uh-oh.
but everything else. Oh, go again.
Oh, now you can hear me.
Now I can hear you. So I've got you in the Ottawa Valley. I've got you. You got a dirt bike. Your dad taught you how to kind of use it and maintain it. You went through school pretty, I would say, casually. You were able to check your
Yeah.
notes and
Hmm.
and
Yep.
do well. And then right there, it just sort of it went flat with the sound.
Okay. Odd. Okay. Well, we'll start again. So if it if
Yeah,
it
go
happens
ahead.
again, just wave at me.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, or something, right? Because I was checking my settings too, and I didn't see anything. But I knew something was wrong. Anyway, so yes, that was kind of what it was. Pretty low stress. Just like a good upbringing, right? Good. I have one sister. Good upbringing, good group of friends. Stayed out of trouble, that sort of thing, right? Um, then this is where you lost me, but basically would have been 1985 September would be when I had, you could say, my first awakening, my first encounter with the fragility of life and mortality.
Hmm.
It was just before I turned 16. My parents were in a motorcycle accident, which turned out to be the first one my father was in, ironically. But anyway, so he lost his left arm.
Oh
He was a
wow,
welder. Yeah, so 42, that was the end of his career. Um,
dang.
yeah, my mother, she had both her legs broken pelvis. Yeah, so they almost died, right? Um, and she hasn't walked, or she hasn't run or jumped since. She can't
Oh,
swim. Yeah,
right.
so but she's done her best, and they did, they lived, continued to live. My father bought one of those spiders.
Hmm.
He ended up actually owning three throughout
Okay.
his life. this is getting a little further ahead than my childhood, but this is the ironic part. So he was visiting here in 2021. Then he rode off the morning of May 20th. We had coffee, and I got a message from my uncle, the same uncle who had called the school to come and pick me up in '85 and said, your father's been in a motorcycle accident. And this one, unfortunately, he didn't survive. I got to
Oh,
see him on life support before he passed away that day. But yeah, so I mean, I have had my encounters with with mortality and death for sure. But yeah, I mean, I'd say go back to my early childhood. That's when I started to realize, hey, there are more important things, family being one of them, than
yep.
what's outside of your family. Went on to university, and I mean, that was good too. So I studied chemical engineering there, and, it just kind of went from there. Um,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. So,
So I'm sorry to hear about your dad. That's the
yeah.
first I'm catching it. My condolences. I know it's
Thank you.
been a bit, but if we go back to your younger years and you said
Yeah.
there was like this awakening. So you're carefree and then there's the accident.
hmm
So what shifts?
Well, at that point, what really shifted was, you see, I was on a path that year or the year before that. I was on the honor roll, right? Because I was really working hard on my schoolwork, and then I thought, you know what, I'm not going to slack off, and I'm going to have a little more fun, right? I'm not going
Okay.
to worry so much about that stuff anymore because it could all go away,
Yeah,
right? And it doesn't take
that's true.
anything other than the decision, right? Which way do you
Yep.
turn when you leave the driveway at the end of the day? So,
Gotcha.
you
All right, I
know,
get it. So live more life.
yeah, exactly. Exactly.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. So you go through school.
Yep.
So I mean, I guess some of your education path pushes you down toward being at a nuclear facility, but what's the deciding factor there? What
Well,
what 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 helped you decide that?
so that's funny because I'm a third generation in the industry in my family.
Yep.
So my father was actually born in Minnow Lake, which is
Okay.
now a suburb of Sudbury. Um,
Yep.
so I mean, his parents moved from Dacre, Ontario, which like only got electricity in the 1950s. No joke. To Sudbury, I guess to work at Inco, right? My
Yep. Yep.
grandfather.
Right.
I never met him. He had a heart attack on the job at work. I know where it happened
Wow.
because I've seen it. Yeah, that's interesting. Then my father ended up working there as a welder, right? And then
Yep.
I did 2 summer jobs there, 2 summer co-ops.
Okay.
I tried to get in there right out of university, but the job market wasn't great.
Hmm.
And I actually took a job in an electric motor shop. I learned how to rewind electric motors. I learned how to sharpen drill bits from a Polish machinist who learned from some nasty people in Germany in the mid
Oh,
40s.
yep. Yep.
Yeah, so I mean, I basically learned, hey, you got to make things work. And I
Yep.
learned how to be very hands-on, right? I've always been hands-on.
Okay. Just that last part about hands on. I'm not sure why it's dropping off.
Oh, that's interesting. Now you're back.
There we go. There
Looks
it
like
is.
just
Okay.
looks like just pull. It seems to be a conflict with the app. Looks like just pulling down the just to see the Bluetooth works. All right, where did we lose you? I guess there'll be lots of edits.
We were talking. So you were doing different jobs. You were very hands on
Yeah.
kind of work. So if I
Yep.
were um, so going from that, you were trying to get in where your grandfather and your dad were, and then you got into a different job. You were learning some cool things from a Polish individual.
Yeah.
A lot hands
hmm
on, figured things out, fixing
Yep.
things all the time,
hmm Yep.
making things work.
Yeah.
So
hmm
when did you apply to a nuclear facility?
Well, so I applied again. It's actually interesting. I can blame my wife for that. It's just kind of a family joke, right?
Okay.
So, life is important, connections are important, right?
Yep.
Networking is important. And
Hmm.
so anyway, long story short, her mother, I mean, I met her in 1996. Anyway, her mother had a good friend who worked for the company that actually, runs the site. or,
Mm-hmm.
and so she said, give me your resume. My
All
boss
right.
works there, right?
Yep.
So I did. Maybe he can help. Well, I didn't know anything about who this guy was. I'd never heard of him, right? Anyway, so I interviewed. Um, I got the job. I was actually writing computer code. So not making things with my hands, but I was writing computer code,
Yep.
which I also taught myself how to do, that particular language,
Okay.
in my spare time, just because I found it interesting. And, but turns out that, my wife's mother's friend was one of the senior vice presidents, right? So I guess it kind of helped. I don't know. I mean, I still had to have the credentials. That was actually
Mm-hmm.
interesting work, writing computer code to simulate what goes on inside of steam generators and nuclear power stations. Uh,
Okay.
that was cool.
Yep.
Um, you know, from that, went and worked in a facility that made medical isotopes for about half the world,
Okay.
about half the world's supply,
Yep.
at the same site. And then I wanted to change around 2010, so I moved over to this, the organization where I work now, to do the oversight of the health, safety, security, and environment. So, and then 2018 took on a supervisory role. So then I was really looking at the whole thing. Um,
Gotcha.
you know, so no hands on for that anymore. And I mean, really, as
Yep.
an engineer at a large organization like that,
Yep.
there isn't any hands on. They don't want you touching anything, um,
Right.
which is too bad because, I mean, go back from there 10 years and, you know, you look back at your career,
Mm-hmm.
and you kind of think, wow, I did that. Right. So,
Yep.
I mean, little tiny shop in Southern Ontario. 1997, we built the motor control unit for Ford had a prototype Ranger electric pickup truck. That's
Okay.
what it was for. I had no
Nice.
idea. We drove it down to Detroit and gave it to these guys, right? And then we found out later what it was for. Like, okay, cool. It never went anywhere
Yeah.
because the batteries weren't, mature then, but it was kind of neat,
Right.
that we did that. Um, yeah, so I always miss that sort of stuff, right? So, I mean, I tinker
Yep.
a lot. I really tinker a
Okay.
lot at home.
I was
Yeah,
actually just going to ask, like, you have this transition from hands on to hands off.
yeah,
What what would you do to satisfy that maybe that want or need for the hands on? So you tinker.
yeah.
Um, so what happens in let's stress level. So for myself, if I was doing individual things, my stress level was low. But when I got promoted and then I was overseeing groups of people, groups of police officers, and it could be low risk or high risk stuff. Now the stress is different because I'm watching over a whole bunch of people,
Hmm.
plus everybody around in the environment, plus you got to answer to everybody back at the station eventually. So I have a different sense of stress there, but you move from hands on individual things, smaller groups into this big organization. What was the switch there?
Yeah, so I mean, quite honestly, I found that most of the stress for me came from internal to my own organization, or from my
Okay.
own organization to me, right? Because I mean, those are the people, with whom you interact every day. You're
Yep.
responsible, like you, responsible for being a supervisor for a group of people, a small, like a team, but then
Yep.
you have to be accountable to the people elsewhere in the organization.
Right.
Everybody has to get along. If people aren't getting along, you have
Mhm.
to mediate that.
Yep.
Um, and at the same time, in your daily interactions with the people at the site, and then for us, for someone like me, it would range from, it would basically be everybody, tradespeople,
Mhm.
on shop floors, to the president of the entire organization. I mean, I know them
Wow.
all by name. So, you know, um, it's something else, right? I
Yeah.
mean, there's 3,000 people there, and I probably know half of them. Yeah, it's crazy.
So
So,
what did the day kind of look like then?
it's so basically I would go to the office, right? I mean,
Mhm.
Monday to Friday. at the office, 2 phones, right? Carrying 2 phones all the time, work phone, personal phone.
Yep.
Leave the personal phone at the desk when you go out. Lots of meetings, and I mean, of course, it started with the pandemic and it carried on, right? So video meetings are not the same as face-to-face meetings. I mean, this is fine because this is a casual meeting and it's fun.
Yep.
But when it's like a high stress thing, you can't really read people too well, and I mean,
Correct.
there's the vibe is kind of different, right? I
Yes.
always did though enjoy getting up and walking out and seeing what was going on and talking with people and saying, what are you doing? Like, how are you doing this? Like, what is it? What are you actually doing here? This is cool. I mean,
Yep.
that's like that's where I would go and sort of, I need a walk. I need to stretch, right? Let's go see what's going on. There's a bunch of guys over there digging a hole. Why? you know,
Yep.
so yeah. So, but
Okay.
yeah, but then as I say, lots of meetings, right? And when's this going to be done? And when's this going to be done? And this needs to be done. And interactions with the public, members of the public too. That's another thing, right? Um,
Yes.
so uh, I guess you could say lots of people know, who I am in the area, right? Which is
Fair
fine. I
enough.
don't mind,
Yep.
but um, yeah.
Okay. So we had some preemptory questions on a piece of paper, and there were some answers in there. And
hmm
one of the things that came up was that you've described yourself as being fairly disciplined for a
hmm
very long time, early morning structure,
hmm
responsibility. While that was going on, pushing through before there's a change, did it feel
hmm
like it was something that you could actually sustain and just keep going with at that point?
Yes, it did
Okay.
because of everything that I look at myself as being fortunate, right? I mean,
Yep.
but you know how it works, right? There's the opportunities are there if you put in the work, and that's the
Yep.
thing. If you show up, these doors open, right? And then at some point, but I also think you should be humble, right? I mean, because things can change very quickly, right? So, I mean, to me, it was sort of like, okay, this is my plan. This is about how many more years I'm going to put in here, and it's
Yep.
sustainable, it's doable. Um, you know, I was doing a lot of the things that I'm doing now already anyway. I was exercising, not
Mhm.
as regularly as I am now. But I mean,
Fair.
I thought, yeah, I can do this,
Mhm.
and then when I'm done, then I had other ideas anyway for things that I would want to do, just like
Yep.
really going back to doing the things that I want to do, you know.
Fair.
So,
Yep. Cool. I'm gonna shift gears here, jump over to Dad. Um, so, like a quick maybe recap or synopsis, Dad. You started off young at the steel plant. There's occasional layoff. You keep going back and getting through right up to the point of retirement, and then in retirement, they bring you back in to actually. Was it you were there to help all the new guys coming in to learn some of the instrumentation and processes, or I remember you going back.
Yeah, we went into like they asked me to go in for 6 months to train
Okay.
uh, the the newer employees that were in there and to
Yep.
like more or less have a set of eyes on the equipment and like the ladles that we were working with and the gauge system and the plug system and just to help out.
Okay.
But like I'd go in and I was hands on. I'd help the guys and
Hmm.
show their newer guys what I thought was right. And yeah,
Yep.
so it was a pretty good gig for 6 months, and then they asked me to stay for 6 more months because I don't know, maybe I was doing something right. I don't know.
Very good. Did you feel any stress doing the stuff that you already knew and you were just and showing guys? Did you worry
No
about those
stress at
guys that were
all.
with
No,
you?
it
Nice.
was all old hat type stuff. Like
Yep.
it's repetitive work. Like you go in, you check the system, and
Yep.
you do the same thing all day,
Yep.
4 days a week. We were working 12, so
Okay.
it was.
So you're retired. You're working 12s,
Yeah,
golfing, Greyhound games,
yep,
occasional trip, music concerts, having a
yep.
good time. So I'm going to ask you the question that I was asking Brett. Did that feel like something you could just kind of keep doing? Did you feel like you're in the zone and it was just time to enjoy the golden years of retirement?
Well, the golden years of retirement. The only thing about golden about it is when you go to the bathroom, Shawn. All right, but no, I like as you know, I enjoy concerts, and we still do
Yep.
concerts.
Hmm.
I enjoy a little bit of travel. I don't. I'm nervous to travel to different countries now because of what's going on in the world.
Yep.
I really don't like what's going on in the world right now. Like you hear,
Hmm.
look at Mexico a couple of weeks ago. You know,
Yep.
they kill one guy and then the whole place is gone for like it's chaos for almost a week and a half. Like how
Yep.
would you like it if you were there and that was happening, right? So
It
that's
wouldn't be
one of the
fun.
reasons why I don't like to travel,
Yeah.
like to other countries anymore. Uh, I love my hockey, as you know, Montreal
Yep.
fan. I'm going to Montreal. Like we're going to Montreal. So
Cool.
we're still going to do a little travel. We're going out west. So yeah, I enjoy the travel part. I love golf, as you will,
Yes.
and Luke knows. So
Yep.
and I get my membership and I play 4 times a week
Hmm.
in the summertime. So yeah, I love
Okay.
I love retirement, man.
Let me bring. I'm going to bring both of you back because I know there's a moment, Dad, for you, or it's probably two. There's probably a quick prelude, and then it happens. And Brett, we've got the information here for you that there was a sudden change that probably tweaked some things. Like I know my dad was doing some snow, and then the breathing and everything and the tired and up the stairs was hard, et cetera, et cetera. And it happened one more time, and then there was a trip to Sudbury.
Yeah,
Yeah, and then
yeah,
so
that was
Brett,
that was a scary part of my life.
that would be scary. I'm going to come back to you on it, so I'll let you think on it for a sec. Brett, we're going down the same path. So from what I understand, things are going good. Things are going smooth. You've got the drive. You think it's sustainable, and suddenly an ambulance is there. There's a shift in things going on. You're actually trying to tell jokes to the paramedics. What happened?
Yeah, so I mean, basically I can remember, the lead up to Christmas, that
Mm-hmm.
year. So I mean, that would be in, sort of December 2024, and then go into January 2025. I would find at the end of the day, walking up the stairs, just giving you a bit of a verbal description of, the way that how you get to the parking lot, and
Mm-hmm.
uh, me being disciplined and, being structured, right? I always parked in almost the same spot every day at the very back of the parking lot. So about half a kilometer from the actual office, actually more like half a mile, 800 meters I measured at one time. I'm an engineer. I have to know these things. Uh, right. And so,
Yep.
geez, I'm really tired going up the stairs, right? It's been a long day. It's okay. We're pushing hard to get all these things done, right? And I never really
Yep.
thought about it. But I mean, I accept I believe in aging gracefully, right? So sort of like, well, at the time I'm 55, right? This is the way it is. I'm not 25 anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Now the joking part with the paramedics came down to this because I actually had my first ambulance ride in 2014. Uh,
Oh wow.
yeah, and so maybe we've seen the television commercials. If you feel these symptoms, call 911. So I
Yep.
did, right? Didn't find anything. If you've ever had anything related to a potential heart attack, they look for something called troponin in your blood.
Yes. Yep.
Right. Right. So, and if it's above a certain level, they suspect, right? Everything was
Yep.
fine. So everything was fine the following 7 times that I called between 2014
Wait, wait,
and
wait, wait. So you went to the hospital in 2014 and then seven more times
7 more times after
before
that,
2025?
before
Holy geez. Holy
2025.
cow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So what makes this last one different?
Okay.
Like
So
how do you wake up? What is it? Like they finally tell you, hey, this is real, you got to
so
come
this
back?
time, so here I am, right? By the time they
Yep.
actually, you know, processed me and got me an actual bed at the emergency at the local
Mm-hmm.
hospital, and they're
Yeah.
saying, "How do you feel?" I feel fine. Do you feel any pain? No. Like, what did you feel? They say, "Well, how much pain do you feel?" Between 1 and 10. I'm like, I don't know. What's a zero? I mean, I don't feel like I'm being eaten by a bear. You know, I mean,
Okay.
like I don't feel that bad. I felt a little bit of whatever, and to me, it's something was wrong, right?
Yep.
Um, if I hadn't had those previous incidents, I think I would have just taken a 20-minute, lay down after lunch that day because I was just happened to be working from home that day, which is unusual.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I would have gone back to work, right? Anyway, so they check the troponin, it comes back, right? They take a blood sample, it comes back, I think 3 hours later or something. It takes a while for the lab to process it. And they
Yep.
said, okay, so this is what we found. And they said, your levels are up. And I said, okay, what does that mean? And they said, well, the high normal is this, and you are here. I'm like, well, that's not too bad. I said, okay, so well, we're going to take another sample. We're going to keep you in, check again. And anyway, so it kept going up, right? And so for about 36 hours, it kept going up. And they said, okay, there's something wrong. I'm like, yeah, okay. And I mean, again, I'm curious, right? And they said, well, we don't know for sure because if it was a definite, if you had fallen, if you had hit the floor, it would have been a lot higher, but something's not right. So anyway, lucky me, which I say lucky me, I'm joking, right? But lucky me, we were going into Family Day weekend. So, of course, the next available appointment in Ottawa at the Ottawa Heart Institute was the following week. So I got to spend the weekend in there in
Mm-hmm.
the hospital, which is fine. Had a really cool roommate. We chatted a lot and they brought me down and so here I am. I'm going into have a basically the catheterization. They put it in through my arm. I mean, sometimes they go through the groin, but they put it in through my right arm. And I said to the surgeon, I said 50-50 chance. I said 50-50 chance. 50% you'll find something, 50% it's stress again. And I said, friendly bet, right? Because I mean, he's a doctor. So, and he
Yeah.
said, all right, we'll see what we find. He said, if we find anything, you wanted me to fix it? I'm like, of course. Anyway, so, and you're watching on this big screen, right? And it's like, well,
Yep.
that doesn't look good. I'm like, what? It's like, oh, I'm like, really? Okay. Anyway, it was kind of interesting to watch, right? So it was a 95% blockage in a secondary
Whoa.
branch artery.
Yeah.
They were surprised I wasn't on cholesterol medication already. I was on blood pressure meds. All
Mm-hmm.
four of my grandparents died of heart attacks. Um, so I was aware of it.
Yeah.
As much as I laugh about it, I mean, I was taking it seriously. I mean, I have tried to eat well,
Yep.
certainly for the last, let's just say 15 years.
Okay.
Really starting to, okay, hey, I'm in my 40s now at the time, I better start eating better. Um, and I was, and then I was put on blood pressure medication in 2010 because I did have
Mm-hmm.
severe hypertension, probably stress,
Yep.
right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, no cholesterol meds at the time. Well, they immediately put me on cholesterol meds after the surgery, put me on maximum dose blood thinners.
Mm-hmm.
And, the every doctor I spoke with said, they asked you the question, do you drink? It's like, well, yeah, I do. I drink, right? Well, how much, right? And then I kind of smiled and I said, I know I tell you three, you multiply it by three, because that's how this game works, right? Nobody's ever honest. So anyway, I said, oh yeah, I drink, right? I said, I'm half Irish. Anyway, that's how it works. Anyway, but they said, well, you should minimize it. So I just quit. Just poof, that was it. I just stopped. I mean, when you're in the hospital, they're not going to bring around a Scotch card anyway. So, I mean,
Oh.
so I stopped. Yep, and I that was it. That was over a year ago, and
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's been great. I mean, I probably lost about 45 pounds. I
Oh
lost
wow.
that between February and August. I lost about 40 pounds, and then it's just kind of stabilized, more of a body recomp, without
Yep.
really trying. Just kind of,
That's
yeah.
that's good.
So
That's good.
I mean, I say, I'm not 25 anymore, but I'm actually kind of built about the same way I was when I was 25 now. So it's kind of
All right.
interesting how that works, right? You know?
Yeah.
Um,
So here's a question for you.
yeah.
you go in like 7 or 8 times before.
Yeah.
You go into Ottawa. You're joking with the doctor at the time with the 50-50 going on.
Hmm.
So when's the reality hit you? When he says, "Oh, that's not good," or
Yeah, yeah,
what kind of
exactly.
clicks to make this even more real?
Yeah, it was right there, right? And then
Yep.
he's like, yeah, it's like, okay, all right, so we're gonna do this, right? But it didn't I mean, I wasn't scared or anything, right? Because I mean, I had already done some reading on this, and I mean, I have friends
Yep.
who've had these put in.
Yep.
Um and I thought, okay, this is kind of cool, right? I mean, the I guess you could say the cybernetic augmentation of me continues, now you can add some more metal to my body. So um yeah, that's kind of neat, right? Um, it didn't obviously you can't feel it, right?
Hmm.
Anybody who's had one, you won't feel it. I mean, you can't feel anything in there, but you will
Right.
feel it because it is a foreign object in your body, and you do know that you've had something, which is really odd, right? Because
Yep.
you suddenly go from a heart that isn't really working well to one that's working really well, but you still don't
Yep.
feel great, right? So for about a month, I didn't feel really great, but I
Yep.
think it was also side effects of the medication. Um,
Fair.
you know, and then maybe after about a month, then I started bringing back in some physical exercise. I had found a gentleman on YouTube, 72-year-old
Hmm.
Australian guy who is quite fit actually, who just does body weight stuff. So anyway, he just said, this is what I do 3 times a week, right? And I thought, yeah, I can do that, right? So I did that for, I guess, probably from about maybe let's just say April last year, kind of
Yep.
to end of 2025, and then I brought in the free weights again, and nothing
Yep.
crazy. It's
Yep.
actually pleasant, right? It's sort of like, okay,
Yep.
you know, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or actually it turns out it's Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday because it works better for me. But anyway, and if I have to slip it a day, it's fine, as long
Yep.
as I do it. And if I'm sick, I don't do it because that's silly.
Yep.
Um, you know, 15, 20 minutes. That's it. Go and do the sets. I track everything, you know. Again, not because I'm neurotic, just because that's the only way I'm going to know, right? That's the system. The
True.
system
Yes.
beats the willpower, right? You have to
Always.
know. Yeah. So,
Yep.
yeah,
Cool.
it's
Cool.
fun. Yeah.
Dad. Sorry. Yeah, that is. It is. It can be fun. It gets addicting. Dad, you're
Yeah.
in the driveway. You're
Yeah,
winded.
yeah,
You ignore the signs.
yeah. It was
All right. You ignore the signs, and then you go back out.
actually it was walking from Margie's mom's house to here, back to the
Yep.
house here, and I felt
Yep.
winded. And then
Okay.
the next day, I'm in the
Yep.
driveway cleaning the car off, and
Yes.
I'm going something terrible here. What's going on? I can't even breathe.
Yep.
So of course I got Margie to drive me to the hospital, and
Hmm.
you know how they act there. Once you tell them something wrong with your chest, they give you the full treatment, right?
Yep.
So blood work, blood pressure in a hallway in emergency. And a doctor, I'm not sure, I can't remember. It's 13 years ago, I think. 12, 13 years ago, I had those stents put in. And she
Yeah.
come up and told me I had a mild heart attack. I
Oh
was
wow.
that blew me away because back then I was walking at least 5K a day. A day.
Yep.
I was walking that. And I couldn't believe it. Like I was in shock to find out that I had a heart attack, but
Right.
what the hell, eh? So then they did the angiogram and they saw a blockage. Same thing, 95% blocked on the artery. And uh, 3 days later, I'm in Sudbury. They flew me to Sudbury, and I had a little job while we were flying to Sudbury. So when they get us in the ambulance, they they're flying down the streets like it's. I can't believe it. Like it's just siren going every time we go to the light. I'm going, what the hell's wrong here? I asked the paramedics. I says, what's going on? How come we're going so fast? Well, you had pain in the plane, so we got to get you there. So get me to the hospital, wheeling me in, and they said, okay, you're going to be done tomorrow. I said,
Yep.
okay, so take me up. And all of a sudden, I'm going back down. We're doing you now. We got time. We're going to do you now. So they went in, and actually, the doctor was great. He was fantastic. Like, he was joking with me and telling me where to watch. And I was watching the whole thing, and he was asking me questions. He goes, "Oh, Sault Ste. Marie." He says, "Pinot's IGA sausages is the best." I go, "Yeah." I go, "Yeah, they're pretty good." "Yeah." He says, "Sault Ste. Marie." "Aurora's Pizza." He goes, "Oh man, they make the best pizzas." I go, "Yeah." "Yeah, they're good." Yeah. So he does finishes, puts 4 stents instead of one, and
Wow.
back up. And like when I got up to the room, I was laying there, the nurse, she was fantastic, and I felt great. I couldn't believe how the difference. I could breathe. I didn't feel nervous. I got up to go to the washroom, and I felt great. I felt like I could run a mile, and like, wouldn't bother me. So but I says, "You better lay down, just relax." So the next day, the doctor comes up and looks at me, and he says, "Well, Mike, I got some bad news for you." "What's that?" "Well, you can't go to Pino's and get sausage anymore because I don't want you eating sausage anymore. And no more Aurora's Pizza." I says, "Holy shit." He goes, "Well, once in a while," he
Too
goes,
safe.
"it's okay." He says, "But,
Yeah.
don't do it very often." He goes, "But I got some good news for you." I go, "Well, what's that?" And I have to say this part. Like, my brother-in-law, Dave Christie, was there to pick me up and drive me back home because they fly you there, but they don't fly you home. So
Right.
Dave and Sash were there to pick me up, and Doc goes, "Well, the good news is you have to have sex 3 times a week." And my brother-in-law Dave goes, "Where do I sign up?" So it was a great.
That sounds
It was
like
a great experience. Like I got to see it all happening.
yep.
I was watching them do it on the screen, and it was amazing. But like you said, there's something in there. So
Right.
it makes you think a lot. Like, if you get a jab or something, if something doesn't feel right, you go, "What? Is something moving there that's not supposed to move?" And like today, I was at my doctor's, and I told her, I said, "Something's going on." Right away, they sent me to the cardiac unit, get an ECG, and make sure everything's all right, and blood
Right.
work. And but yeah, every time I feel something different, like in the chest area, right away I
Yep.
think, "What the hell's going on?" But now, with I was diagnosed with COPD, with uh, emphysema on the lower left lung. So I asked her if that could be the problem. Like, could it be the emphysema doing something in there?
Yep.
She says it might be,
Right.
but we're gonna get check you out. So now I'm gonna have to go through all this bullshit again. And
More tests.
you know,
Mhm.
it's,
Yep.
I'm 70,
Let me
71
throw
now. I really don't like going through all this, but I guess as the age goes, so do you.
coming to tests.
Yeah.
Um,
But she did say I'll
so
be able
for
to
each of
golf
you,
this
there's
summer.
this. Yeah, you get the golf. You're gonna probably beat me too. I haven't done a
Oh
single thing.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
So no problem. You got an easy one coming, especially home turf.
Yeah.
So the reality pivot, guys. So Brett, we go back, and it's like back when you're young. There's a change in perspective because your parents are in an accident.
Mhm.
Another change, your father passes.
Mhm.
7 or 8 trips to the hospital, and you're putting it off as stress. Maybe it's an anxiety attack or something. And then the ninth one's real. It's a heart issue. You have it corrected. What's the outlook now? Like you said, when you were younger, you kind of said, "Man, I got to live life a bit." So what's the outlook now? Because you lived life a bit, then you went to a high stress place in a nuclear facility, and there's like 1,500 connections, and it's go 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 go, and you seem like you're a driven dude to do
Mhm.
your stuff. So is there a shift to live life more fully in some way, or not, or
Oh yeah, definitely. Because I mean,
yeah?
with the actual event, I mean, the thing that, I mean, and I joke about it because like for me, it was interesting going through the process, and
Mhm.
I was never really afraid, and I still am not afraid of my own. Like, I'm going to die someday, and that's fine. That's
Mhm.
part of life, right? But it was actually seeing it in my family, right? Because we have 4 children, right? I mean, they're
Yes.
adults now. So, I mean, our oldest
Yep.
will be 25 in May, and the triplets will be 22. But it was seeing in them, like they were seeing mortality in me, right? So
Yeah.
that's part of where the discipline came from in the early mornings. I was the guy who took the early shift to wake up and feed them and all that.
Yep.
But seeing it in them, right? Because they're seeing me like, oh my gosh, because of course, obviously they saw their grandfather as well, and they lost him.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
and so, I mean, what's the change to go back to kind of, being more me, right? I mean, in a sense. So I've taken some time off work. I mean, I'm not
Okay.
I mean, again, I'm privileged. I recognize, I have this ability to take time. I mean, I had built up a lot of
Mhm.
time. So you know what,
Yep.
I'm going to take the time. Other people have done
Okay.
that. I'm going to take the time off, get this all sorted out. So I've been off work for a bit. Um, Large organizations will find somebody to step in for you. That's how they work, right? And I mean, that's part of the beauty.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they put somebody in there who's really talented and who can do the job,
Mhm.
while I do this, right? Because I thought to myself, okay, so how am I going to apply this idea of a system, right? So, I mean, I look at it like a mission, right? I'm the team leader, right? And
Yep.
you have to protect the leader to make sure the mission is successful. Well, what's the mission, right? Being a father,
Mhm.
being a husband, maybe in reverse order, but you know what I mean, right? I mean,
Yep.
I think it's important that I'm here. You know, and part of that is showing, setting an example. Hey guys, there's more to life, a lot more to life than your job. You're not your job, right?
Yep.
I mean, that's just something you do, I mean, job number one is kind of, even still, looking after, being there for my wife, for our children. Um, I mean, one of them is finished already and will be working full time in aerospace this year.
Wow.
Yeah. The our daughter. So we have 3 sons and a daughter. So our daughter
Yeah.
is she's got one more year of nursing, and
Cool.
the other two young men. They did HVAC. They became HVAC technicians. They've been working in that for a bit. They announced before Christmas, we want to go to fire college. Anyway, so they're going to fire college in September,
Okay.
up in Sudbury. So anyway, we're going to become really acquainted with Sudbury, which is kind of cool because that's where my wife went to school. So, um, yeah, so I'm actually just having fun, like getting back into doing that, right? Because
Yep.
they're not kids, right? They're young adults, and it's a
Yeah.
lot of fun to actually have an adult relationship in a sense with your children, right? I mean, it's not like
Yep.
we're friends, but we kind of are, right? I mean, I'm still dad, but what what are you doing? Like, what are you guys doing? Like, what do you like to do? I mean,
Mhm.
and then like, okay, so we have 7 cars in the household fleet, right? Okay, you're going to come and
Holy.
I'm going to show you how to check the oil. And now we're going to do this and we're going to do that, right? Yeah, we're going to fix
Mhm.
the rust. How are we going to do that? We're going to get the grinder, and we're going to do that, right? So, yeah, it's, I'm crazy, but it's fun, right?
Okay. No, no, nothing wrong with taking time. Like you said, you took time, you want to sort it out. And I
Yeah,
was just going to ask you, what does that mean to you to sort it out? But it seems like you're just shifting the time you were at work. You're going to shift that back to focusing on family
yeah,
and some priorities.
yeah. And it's no
Okay.
stress, right? That's the beauty of it,
Yep.
right? I mean, this is
Yes.
just like, this is interesting. This is fun, I mean, it's kind of cool. Why is this thing not starting? Well, let's figure it out. You know, you've got the internet in your hand, in your pocket now. You can figure that out. So, yeah,
Fair enough. Fair
yep.
enough.
Hmm.
Dad, you come out of the hospital, you felt like you were 20, what did you tell me? 22 again or 25? And you
Yeah.
said, I could run a mile. I got this energy. It's crazy. It's
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah.
So when you come out, you have that moment. It's like, holy cow, I could have died from a heart attack. Here I am. I've got my next chance. What were did it shift anything for you? Or you're just like, man, I'm taking in some more of these concerts that I've been giving up on, or I'm going to do X or Y. Like,
Well,
was
you
there
know
any
what?
shifting?
I just kept on going the way I was going. Like before the heart attack, like you know what I was like, you know what I'm like, and I just said I'm not going to lay back and say, "Oh, I had a heart attack. I'm not going to do nothing." You know, I wasn't
Yep.
afraid
Right.
because how good I felt. Like I was never afraid. Even when I was in Sudbury, I wasn't afraid. But now, as I'm getting older, and you know, like with this stupid AFib and COPD, I don't know what the hell's going on. But
Mm.
I'm just like, I'm still going to travel. Like, I'm not going to travel out of the country yet until they settle things down. But like going to Montreal, I'm going to fly to Montreal, watch a hockey game. You know, we're
Yep.
going out west to the wedding, and we're going down south to a wedding, and I'm just going to keep on going. I'm not going to quit. That's all I know.
There you go.
I'm not giving up. I'll never give up.
Good.
Even, you know, I know like you're doing pretty good now. Like you're on your way. Everything's starting to
Mhm.
come, come forward for you. Like you're feeling better. I mean, you're not out of the woods yet. You probably, it's going to be a while, but you're doing better. And Lucas seems to be doing better with the Cabot, so that makes me feel good. The only guy I work with is Josh.
Oh,
Like he never
yeah.
stops. He never stops working. So I worry
True.
about him a little bit. And Matt's got it made. Like you know that. Like he's all set. So
Yeah, he's always chill.
yeah. So, but my life, the way I'm
Matt
going,
is chill.
I'm enjoying life. Like you
Yep.
say, I'm not afraid that I'm gonna die. I just don't want it
Right.
to be painful. Like a
That's fair.
massive,
That's
like heart
fair.
attack or something
If we
where
can
it's
choose
killing
the
you. Eh?
how.
But no,
Yep.
I'm not afraid to die. Like I know we're all gonna go. It's
Yeah.
it's that's just gonna happen. But I hope
Just
I
one
don't
of
go
those
through.
things we can't get out of. Not too
I hope
fast.
I'm here for a few more years.
Yeah, yeah. I hear you.
I gotta stick
Um,
around as long as much until Montreal wins another cup anyway. No, I feel pretty good. I
um,
feel pretty good.
so I'm kind of hearing from both that life's good. It's there's some things, no really fearing anything in the future, etc. Kind of like if I were to just push against that a little bit, is there anything now? I'll go Brett and then Dad. Is there anything now that's going on that does test you a bit to actually test that stress button for you?
For me, I mean, financially we've got things squared away, so that's not a big deal, right? I mean, there's always going to be little things that come up, right? Something comes up, something doesn't go right, something, I'll give you an example, right? So, I mean, gee, why can't I log into my banking app, right? This is yesterday. So I called into the bank and, the gentleman on the other end of the phone was fantastic, right? Yeah, we looked and yeah, so there's someone tried to breach your account, so we locked it down, right? So, I mean, go back maybe a year, but maybe a little more than a year, and I'm sure. I mean, I wouldn't have thrown a shoe through the window or anything, right? But I mean, I'm sure that I would have said some words or whatever. One of my very good friends who I met back at university, he had recommended to me, may maybe about a month before this all happened, hey, I've been using this mindfulness app, which is a structured program by a fellow named Sam Harris. I'm not doing promotions here, but anyway, there's just this thing, right? And he said I'd
Mm-hmm.
do it. Anyway, I had started doing it, I guess in March at some point, probably mid-March last year. And again, haven't missed a day, right? And I mean, it just comes down to stuff that I already knew that I had encountered 20 years ago. There's like, what's your real power in life, right? It's there's a stimulus, somebody says something happens, you're going to have a little response, but then what do you do with it, right? How do you
Mm-hmm.
act on it? So, like, if you're still angry about something 5 minutes, 5 days, 5 years later, that's your fault. right? It really is, right? I mean, whatever happened, happened, right? So, you know,
Yep.
I mean, so yeah, things still come up, which I guess you could say are stressful, but I look at it and think, you know what? It's all bullshit. Who cares, right? In 6 months, in 6 years, this isn't going to matter. You're not going to remember any of this crap,
Yeah.
right?
Nobody's gonna worry about it.
And in
Yep.
6 decades, nobody's going to remember my name. So,
Right.
you know, it's yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's not too bad now. Sorry, I had my hand in the way there.
That's okay.
uh,
No worries.
makes it real, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Okay. Dad, how about you? And what pushes that edge, the stress edge for you? Anything?
Not as much as like at one time. You know me, like I had a bit of a temper at one time. I guess I got that from my dad. Um, but not much anymore. Maybe my sister-in-law. That's about it. You know what I mean? Like
My goodness.
I I'm I wouldn't say I'm laid back, but things don't bother me like they once did. You know, like
Mhm.
at one time I'd fly off the handle like at the drop of a hat. You know, like it just maybe it was the way we were raised there.
Hmm.
You know, our youth. But
Maybe.
yeah, I'm good now. Like I might get a little upset, but 5 minutes later I'm just chilled. Like just to hell with it. You know, like you say, 5 minutes or 5 days from now they're gonna forget what happened anyway, right?
Hmm.
True.
So
No one's going to remember.
no one's gonna.
Before I close up tonight, Brett, going back to work?
Well, eventually, but I think it'll be on my own terms, right? That's
Fair
the
enough.
thing. Yeah, whatever I end up
Like,
doing.
would you go back to doing the same thing or change it up a bit?
I think I would change it up a bit. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean,
Okay.
what I've learned is, you know, you can make your own work, right? I mean, there are
Yep.
lots of things out there. Um,
Oh, tons.
what's available for us now? What are we doing right now? You know, I mean, I'm sitting on a phone, right? I mean,
Yes.
this thing can write software apps now, right? With AI.
Yes.
It's crazy, right?
Yep.
So, I mean, you
Hmm.
look at everything you've done as a person, and this applies to everybody. You know, you guys, everybody, right? What have you done in your
Hmm.
life? How much do you know? And
Hmm.
then what can you do to help people? So to me, that's probably the biggest thing, you know, what can I actually do with this, right? Um,
Gotcha.
I mean, I'll come and visit Luke, but he won't be my caddy. I suck at golf, and I won't be taking that up as a retirement hobby.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I'm going to be buying a 3D printer. That is coming. So that's the next thing. So I
Cool.
can go back to actually making things, which is interesting.
Yeah.
It'll be in my office at home. Yeah, yeah,
Cool.
yeah,
Keep you busy.
yeah.
All right.
Well,
Well, thanks guys for hopping on
yeah, it was
tonight
nice
and
meeting you,
sharing your
Oh,
Brett.
stories with me
thank you. Yeah,
and
nice to meet
sharing
you,
your
Mike.
thoughts. Yeah. So I'm gonna close this up. Listen, so what stood out to me tonight in this conversation wasn't about it's an exciting story when people take an ambulance ride or an airplane ride to get a couple stents put in, and something you can observe, and it was interesting to watch. But um, what I'm gathering from everything so far tonight was the systems and restructuring things and kind of be consistent with stuff. And you can be disciplined, you can be successful, you can be responsible, yet you can still slowly start normalizing stress that's going on because you're just there adapting to it, and
Hmm.
that'll do damage. So what Brett described wasn't some kind of dramatic reinvention. It was just setting up some boundaries. Yeah, you took some time off work to sort things out and
Hmm.
get back to living life a little more fully. Um, and it's about, like you said, protecting that team leader so the mission doesn't collapse.
Hmm.
You've switched it from you and then maybe the company to you saw your family and opportunities there, and now you're talking about doing different things in the future to help people around you. So that's pretty
Hmm.
cool. Brett, if someone's listening, um, is high functioning, busy, responsible, and they're ignoring some warning signs, what would you tell them?
Yeah, don't look after yourself first, right? I mean, I uh, I would have been described as a yes, like really a yes man. right? Or not
Mhm.
necessarily, but like a people pleaser. That's probably the best description. Learn to say no. Say no to the things that you can say no to, so you can say yes to the important things, right? And important is going to be, you have to look after yourself first, so you can look after your family, and then your friends, you know, then your job, right? We need to work for money, but if we're dead, we can't work. So, and you will be
True.
replaced. They will replace you
Yep.
within days. So
That is
it's
true.
not worth it, not worth it.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right on.
it's
Yeah.
true.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, thank you for joining us and taking part in this podcast. And I mean, you heard it here that the final thing is it's that this is what rebuilding looks like. It's not loud, it's not dramatic, it's just deliberate. You just make a choice, and sometimes an individual has a quick awakening to do that. And if you're taking any of the advice tonight from anybody here, it's you pay attention to some of the early warning signs, and if you do that, you can nip it in the bud and not have to have a dramatic experience in order to enjoy life more. So until next time, keep pushing forward, guys. Keep living life. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank
Uh,